If quality is job one, quantity is job two. You can't have a quantity of bad music. It's not going to help you. And you can't have just one song of quality. That's not going to help you. Not to get where I'm talking about in sync, where you're getting to a place where you're making 4 and 5 figures a quarter from sync. And this part right here, quantity, is how you're going to get to 4 and 5 figures per quarter. And anybody who's in this industry or is making that kind of money from sync licensing is going to tell you they couldn't do it with 100 songs. If they couldn't support their family with maybe 500 songs, maybe 1,000 songs. Now, we have seen numbers from Wolfgang and others who are making low 5 figures and said so on this program last quarter. Now, you're making 5 figures, and he has about 900 songs out in sync libraries. So that's a lot, though. 900 songs. Anybody in here have 900 songs in libraries right now? You might have them ready to go. And I don't want to hear, oh, I've got 900 songs on my hard drive. Listen, if they're not working, they're not helpful. If they're demos and they're scraps and they're pieces of songs and all that stuff, they're technically songs. You can write them down and say, I've written 900 songs. You can say that. But I'm talking about 900 finished songs that are in libraries. That's what Wolfgang has. That's why Wolfgang is making a lot of money per quarter. That's a pretty quick climb up to 30 grand or whatever he said he made in a quarter with 800 to 900 songs. But it's not if they're in the right places, if they're in the right libraries and they're getting the right amount of play, which apparently they are. So it's quantity. You've got to make a lot. And I would bet you that a lot of you watching right now, if you struggle with quantity, you can do quality, but can you pump out an album, or let's just say a song a day? Can you make a song a day? The people who I know who are making mega money in this, more money than I should tell you right now, per quarter, probably what you make in a year, they're making in a quarter. But that's because they've been finishing a song a day, start and finished a song in a day for 10 years. Have you been doing that? I am getting to the place right now where we're working on about 2 albums a week, trying to turn them around. That's going to be somewhere close to 1,000 songs by end of next year. Getting over that 1,000 songs mark in libraries that are doing something with them. Now, remember, quantity is no good if they're sitting on a hard drive, but they're also no good if they're sitting on a hard drive of a library that doesn't have anybody syncing anything, or they're not doing anything actively to get people to use them. So that's a big secret of sync too, is finding the right libraries. After you can get to the quantity level, that's where you can see real money from sync coming in. And here's a way to get quantity going. If you're like, okay, Eric, I want quantity. Tell me how to get more quantity out. Well, first of all, you've got to think in terms, and as far as I'm concerned, I know Wolfgang thinks like this, I do too. You've got to think in terms of albums and not songs. I talked about this a few weeks back. You can see a whole video. I just did a special short video on albums, not songs. You can go back and find that on the channel. I think you've got to think that way, because when you think in terms of albums, you automatically write more, you automatically finish more. If you're trying to finish an album, you give yourself a time. Now, I have a partners program, so there's songs coming from lots of people that I co-write and co-work on. And so I get all those in and I say, okay, this week, we're going to be working, like we have a bit of a brief for next week for a folk tension album where we are working on a tension album that uses all real instruments, or at least all real sounding instruments. No synths, no beats, nothing like that. Beats, if they are beats, they are organic beats. So we're working on an album like that, and it's probably going to be due by the end of next week. And so I've got people sending me stuff. I'm going to be working on that stuff. But the reason that's happening so quickly is because we said we have a 10-song album we need 10 songs for, or 12 songs for. Again, this is part of being part of a group of people like my partners program, where I can just put out a brief to everybody and say, hey, what do you got for this? Because we got to deliver something next week. So what we will do is, even though we have albums going on, Wolfgang and I have an album going on. I just pitched the first 3 songs yesterday, and we'll see what happens with that. I pitched another album yesterday of Celtic songs, but I may have to pause that to get this album done because there's someone who wants that album next week. So by thinking in terms of an album of this brief, let's say, they wanted an album of this. And because I have resources, going back to what makes me stand out is partners and playing with others. So I'm getting all of these songs in so that I can supply these songs that's for a specific television show, which ups the possibility of being used on TV because it's for a specific show. It's not just to put in a library and hope somebody fishes and finds it. And so we're getting that album out. But I think albums helps you get 10 songs out at a time, 12 songs done at a time. And that's what eventually propels you to dozens of songs. How many people in here have dozens of songs available to put into sync libraries, finished quality songs? How many people have hundreds of songs ready or are on your way or already have put hundreds of songs in? And then the big word, which is where Wolfgang is headed, it's where I am headed, it's where most of my partners are headed, and that is to the thousands of songs. How can we all be partners in thousands of songs? That's the only way you're going to see an income from this. I'm being very careful and really separating who I'm sending music to. Am I sending music to this library and will something happen with it because they are a big library? Are they a BMG? Are they a Warner Chappell library? Are they tied to APM or to Universal? Are they a bigger library? Or are they a specific library doing a specific shows? And I know they're going to be used in shows. Quantity is not only job 2 for you, it's really job 2 for the libraries. First, they got to have quality stuff come in, but then they've got to have a lot of it come in because they need more stuff. And so we have to continue to give them more stuff.